I see this all the time. Runners Googling best exercises for knee pain and wondering why nothing works. Here's the truth. It's not that exercises don't work. It's that you're probably doing the wrong ones for your problem. I'm Dr. Ray Peralta, a physical therapist and run coach. I help runners over 40 stay pain-free while improving their performance and enjoying the sport well into their 60s and beyond. And today I'm going to break down why most knee pain advice online is just guessing and what you should do instead. So, the big problem, a lot of runners do get knee pain. It's actually one of the most common knee injuries, running related injuries in runners. About 40% of runners end up getting some type of knee pain, whether it's runner's knee, IT band syndrome, or just that their knee hurts, right? And the problem is maybe you've tried different exercises. You're like, oh, I'm gonna try to fix it myself. I'm gonna push through the pain. Maybe I could just, look up this knee tips, right? Knee pain relief tips. Maybe you'll go on YouTube or whatever. You try squats, lunges, glute exercises, and maybe you get a little bit of relief. Or sometimes you actually make it worse. Maybe you're doing some squats and now your knee pain's even worse. And now you're frustrated. Maybe you're confused. Maybe you're even fearful to do any type of exercise outside of running or in addition to, because you're afraid that, hey, that knee's just going to get worse and worse. And you might be thinking maybe your knees are just bad. Maybe you're just getting older. This, hey, it's just part of old age. Your knees are just going to hurt. They're just going to ache. And not realizing that there's more to the story than just doing a bunch of random knee exercises, right? I like to use the analogy of like a cut knuckle, right? Let's say you had a cut in your knuckle. One direction opens the cut, one direction close the cut. If you do the wrong exercises, you actually can flare up an injury, right? This is why it's so important to actually get an assessment. We're going to talk about that in a moment. And if you want access to this Google Doc, I dropped inside my free school community for runners, a link in the description. So a big reframe. Here's the problem. Most videos and tips online, even if they're made by the best physical therapists or pain specialist, even good ones are still guessing, right? They, without an assessment, you're just guessing, right? If you're not assessing, you're guessing. So sure, they may be worth for one type of knee pain injury, right? Maybe, and oftentimes these videos are making inception or these tips that it's your hips or your feet or your mechanics, your form. Okay, it can be one of those things, but without them doing a proper assessment on you, they don't actually know, right? Unless you're actually working with them one-to-one, and I'm sure some of them can actually work with you one-to-one and do an assessment. But a lot of times they're not working with you one-to-one. Oftentimes you're just watching their stuff, trying to do it yourself. So you're not, it's like an indirect try to, download of information, thing that it's just, oh, just need more information and doing the right exercise or doing, random exercises, off YouTube or Google or whatever the online research you're trying to find. And again, without the assessment, without actually knowing what's causing the pain, the root cause, you may be doing more harm than good. So why knee pain isn't one thing, right? The knee, you may know, is the joint in the middle, right? It's between the hip. Then you got the foot and ankle underneath it. And heck, it can be influenced by the back and the posture, but not everyone has the same limitation. For example, runner A, who has knee pain, his knee pain may be coming from weak glutes. Runner B might be overload, way too much mileage, right? Runner C might do poor recovery, right? Not enough sleep. Runner D may be underfueled, right? So they all may have knee pain, but they need completely different solutions. And another thing that's often missed is that 25% of knee pain cases, it's actually coming from the lower back. So you may be doing all the knee exercises in the world, but if the pain's not even coming from, even though you feel in the knee, but it's actually coming from the back, you just wasted all that time doing the wrong exercises. So why the best exercises fail, right? People, again, will try to copy random workouts, skip the assessment, the diagnosis, and then it results in trial and error. And again, you might get some partial relief or temporary relief, but then you keep just getting reoccurring pain or injuries. And that's why you feel like, hey, I'm doing everything right. I've tried everything, but nothing's working. So what you should do instead of tasting exercise, you need to identify the root cause, right? Work with a physical therapist who specializes with helping runners, because it's really difficult to try to do this on your own. Now, if you still want to try to do it on your own, to try to do a self-assessment, at least try to identify, is it a load versus capacity issue, right? Look back at your programming. Are you doing too much mileage, too much running, right? Oftentimes, a lot of runners get injured because it's to ramp up the mileage, like going from like 30 miles a week to 60 miles a week, where giant jump in mileage. All right. Are you not doing enough strength training? Are you not doing any strength training at all? Right. Review your programming. Sometimes it can be from just switching from 6 runs per week to 3 runs per week. I'm a big fan of the 3 runs per week framework. Look at your movement, right? Look, maybe video yourself while you're walking or you're running. See what your knee is doing. Is your knee collapsing? All right. Are you lacking hip control? Is your hip dropping? Are you overly pronating? All right, so look at your movement, your biomechanics. Again, it's kind of tricky to do on your own. That's why, working with a physical therapist can make a big difference here, a big help. Check your recovery nutrition. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough proper fueling? Are you managing your stress? And not even just physical stress, but even psychological stressors can actually impact stress hormones and actually impact the healing process. And this is what actually determines, when you go through these different steps here, how well you recover. It actually differentiates the people who actually get a full recovery versus those who get a partial recovery, or those who nothing happens to them whatsoever or even get worse, right? And this is how you really understand what exercise will work. And when the exercise do work, yes, exercise can help, again, when they're matched to the specific situation. For example, if you notice that there's a lot of instability, right? You're feeling off balance. Sometimes working on foot and ankle stability and mobility of the ankle can actually help with knee pain, right? If your back is causing the knee pain, right? Doing back mobility exercises or even back stability exercises can help with knee pain as well if it's a back or core strength issue. Hip work, right? If you have weak glute med, that can actually impact the knee. So strengthening the glute can help as there, right? And then strength work, general strength training, right? Like things like squats, deadlifts, step ups, reverse lunges, right? Those things can also work as well if your overall just capacity, your general strength is low as well. So like you just generally have to get yourself to be a stronger runner. That can help there. But again, only if you match it to your problem. Because if you do strength work, but it's more of a mobility issue coming from the hip or the ankle, you might get partial relief, but not fully better, or you may actually flare up the knee and make it worse because now you may be adding more compensations by trying to do heavy squats when you have mobility restrictions, and then you're putting even more stress on the knee, right? So when you get this right, though, you stop guessing, you train with confidence, you actually build durability, you are able to run pain-free long-term, right? Able to enjoy running well into your 60s. And that's when running starts to feel good again. You don't have to keep pushing through pain. So I currently have a few spots open for my run pain-free assessment. I'll identify the biggest things causing your knee pain, whether it's a strength issue, whether it's your programming, etc., and map out exactly what to do over the next 90 days. A link in the description, first come, first serve. So in conclusion, knee pain is random. Exercises aren't always the solution. The right strategy is. So stop guessing and start assessing, because the only thing worse than the wrong exercise is doing random exercises hoping that something works.